I am so excited to share our first conference just for developers. My name is Jordan Violet, Head of Developer Relations here at SailPoint, and my team and I are genuinely thankful for the opportunity to welcome you today, not just to Developer Days, but to the SailPoint developer community. If you're watching this live, then you found yourself on developer.sailpoint.com, and that's a home that we've built just for developers. And much like visiting someone's home for the first time, you might find yourself interested in looking around, and we encourage you to do that. We're so proud of the experience that we've built for developers, and we're excited to share it with you. And like any home, ours isn't perfect, and you may find that something is missing, maybe something that isn't quite right. Either way, reach out to us on the Developer Community Forum. Let us know what you think. Before we get into the conference, I want to talk about one other thing, and that's the term developer. Look, whether you call yourself a developer or not, it doesn't matter to us. If you're using APIs, if you're building connectors, if you're an architect looking to build a proof of concept for your team, or maybe you're just an analyst who's looking to pull some information out. If you put your hands on a keyboard to build a real technical solution and you're extending SailPoint in any way, then we consider you a developer and thus part of our developer community. It's that simple. Maybe you don't feel that you fall into our definition of a SailPoint developer though. Maybe you're a program leader, a director, an executive. Maybe you're not even a customer yet. Then we especially want to welcome you to the SailPoint developer community today. We're really happy that you're here, and we're just excited for you to get a glimpse of different technical challenges being solved by developers in the identity space and how they're solved through various forms of extensibility that we offer here at SailPoint. So, regardless of where you land on the developer spectrum today, I'm making you an honorary member of the SailPoint developer community, and so, welcome. The SailPoint developer community, it actually just came together just over 2.5 years ago now, and it's truly incredible to see how far we've come in that time. And I'm excited for the culmination of that work to come out over the next few days right here at the conference, as the very community that we have built is now here today, both presenting and listening in. And so, to ensure everyone has a great time, I'd like to offer some friendly suggestions on how everyone can get the most out of Developer Days. You're going to hear a lot from people over the duration of the conference, people like you and me who are working very hard for the users that they serve. And as we listen and learn today, just be sure to keep their humanity in mind when you're having conversations and providing feedback about their sessions. Most notably, you're going to hear from fellow members of the developer community, customers and partners, people, again, just like you, who are going to be sharing their ideas and solutions that they've built with you. And as much as they were eager to submit ideas to present to you today, they're also going to be eager to hear what you think. And I hope that you'll be kind with your feedback and constructive with the criticisms that you have. Secondly, I strongly encourage you to participate and chat throughout the conference. While this conference is virtual, that doesn't mean that you can't participate in conversation with your peers in attendance. Right here next to the video feed, you'll notice that there's a chat window. And to participate, all you have to do, click login, fill out your name, and you're in. You'll see that there's actually channels that are specific to both Identity Now and Identity IQ. Check them out and look for a best place to hold your conversations. Talk to each other in real time about the sessions being held, the features that are being discussed, what you liked, and honestly, maybe what you wish would have been different. I do ask that you remember though, this is a professional and public place, so please keep your language appropriate. Okay, I'd like to give you a quick tour of the conference platform you find yourself on today, just to make sure you can find everything that you may need. So, right up above me here, you'll see that there is a title of the session, the speakers presenting that session, and a unique link to the developer community forum covering said session. So while there is chat provided over here at the conference, it's ultimately ephemeral, whereas conversations in the developer community forum are permanent and they'll last forever. You can ask the presenter questions there, discuss the session post-conference amongst each other, and even get access to the presenter's files should they be sharing them. And to the right of all this, you'll find a few other buttons, the agenda, FAQ, and a list of speakers. I believe those are pretty self-explanatory. But that last button there, that's the survey button, and you can click that at any time during a session to answer 2 short questions for the presenter on how valuable you found their session. But don't worry if you forget to click the survey, because at the end of each session, we're going to briefly display that survey for you so you can share your thoughts with the speaker, and you're always welcome to just skip it if you'd like. Speaking of sessions, a quick note on session times too. So while we do our best to work with presenters, sometimes sessions can end early or late. We've probably all been to a conference before. We're largely a group of developers here today, and we're really passionate and excited about the things that we build. sometimes that excitement can cause us to talk too fast, and sometimes it can cause us to go too deep and too long. So, should sessions end much earlier than planned, we want to make sure that all future sessions still start at their designated time so nobody misses what they may have come to see. So if that happens, we'll put up a nice message just letting you know, hey, the next session is going to start soon, and we'll give the next presenter just a few extra minutes to prepare. But this is a great time for you to pop into chat, ask some questions, maybe answer a few, and just see what everyone's talking about. And if a session goes a little over, we'll compensate for that too by using some of the break time. Speaking earlier of humanity, by the way, I actually just want to remind you that, like many communities in the world, the SailPoint developer community is incredibly global and diverse. And while the conference this week is in English, just remember that not everyone speaks English as a first language. So be patient, be kind. I implore you to seek to understand today and just treat others the way that they want to be treated. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce you all to the executive leadership team for SailPoint's product organization, and let's hear their thoughts on extensibility. So I'm joined today by Grady Summers, Executive Vice President of Product here at SailPoint, and Wendy Shepard, Senior Vice President of Engineering. Grady and Wendy, welcome to Developer Days.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, Jordan. I tell you, the stage looks great, the platform looks great, the agenda's awesome. I can't wait to see what you have in store.
So, Grady, we don't have notes here. I was just thinking this morning, you're coming up on 3 years next month at SailPoint. And I came in after you, so you must have been thinking developer experience and extensibility of the product. So, what were you thinking when you're looking at building a product organization? How did extensibility play into that early on?
Well, it becomes real obvious when you start talking to customers. And when I started at SailPoint, like you said, it's been about 3 years. I sort of did the listening tour, went and talked to customers. And I heard this as a theme, and some of them put it pretty explicitly, like, hey, we don't want to do anything in a UI that we want to do it programmatically. We don't want to have to go log in and click because we want to build SailPoint into what we do. And so it was really apparent that we needed to up our game here. So we've always had APIs, and our engineering team has done a good job of getting those APIs out there, but we didn't tell people about them consistently. As you know, we didn't even really document them consistently. And so it's been great. And I will say, too, since you and your team have been here, it's been awesome to see the response from engineering. We'll talk to Wendy in a second on that. Like the enthusiasm for it. And I think we're going to hear it today. We have engineers, we have product managers here who are all excited to talk to developers as well. So,
what are you thinking of early on, and as you've gone through this process of the organization changing over time?
Yeah.
What are you thinking from a product roadmap perspective? How do you keep in mind the identity features that we want to bring, but how do we still make sure we add extensibility to those features along the way?
Well, I don't want to. Wendy's probably going to talk a little bit about the API first approach in engineering, but I do think that's key to it, right? Is that we don't say, hey, let's go build a cool feature. Now, how do we retrofit that and get APIs in front of it? So we do APIs as first and foremost. And I'll tell you, it's neat when we do that, the things we start to unlock, because I was just talking, we have a customer with a really big challenge. It's one of our largest customers, and I won't reveal it yet, but they have a complex use case they want to address. And boy, our engineering team is so focused on big rocks, big deliverables this year, new products and scale. And we said, hey, we're not sure when we can fit that into the roadmap, but we think we have a way we can actually build that with APIs. And by the way, that's not always the best answer for customers, but in this case, it was sort of one customer needed a specific thing and they can build it. So my point is, with that API first mentality, look, it's great for our customers, it's great for our customer developers, but it's also pretty cool for SailPoint because we can sometimes move faster than we would otherwise.
And Grady kind of stole my segue there. So Wendy, what are you thinking from an engineering perspective when we're looking at the actual build of these products? So PMs help us set the roadmap and the vision for what we want to do. What are you thinking from an engineering perspective, and how do we really provide extensibility for these customers when they need it?
Well, thank you for having me. And API first and the importance of APIs is so critical for all of us. And I know everybody here at a developer days like this is thinking the same thing. So first off, you want to think, how much can I get into the core functionality to meet the majority of needs of customers? And then knowing, like one of the examples Grady gave, that it's important to give customers that ability and flexibility to extend those APIs to reach those additional use cases that they'd like to have that maybe we're not building into the product.
Now, Wendy, I remember earlier Grady said you're on week 3 or 4 today. Is that right?
Yes, this is my 4th week at SailPoint. So I'm really happy to be here. I've known really about SailPoint for a long time, being in the Austin tech community. And I've been working with New Relic for the past 3.5 years. And New Relic has a very strong developer community. And so I was happy to see that we were doing this here at SailPoint. And it was so, we really shared a philosophy around the importance of developer relations, having an active community, providing a safe place to collaborate. So many developers are dealing with the same types of challenges daily. And so when you have a community like this, you can share knowledge, you can share best practices. Somebody may have already written the functionality that you need. And so having an active community really provides a rich source of knowledge sharing, feedback, and collaboration.
I think that's been cool to see over the last few years. What you just touched on there is how the community is, like people are getting to know each other in the community. People are answering questions. Like it warms my heart when I see a customer ask a question and like another customer jumps and helps. Like that's cool. That's the definition of community, is people helping customers, helping others, and getting to know each other. And we've even seen customers contributing, code or SDKs, and so it's been really cool to see.
And Wendy, now that you're starting to get ramped up, I'm sure coming onto a new role isn't easy. Tell us about what you did at New Relic in terms of your focus on engineering there.
Yeah, so when I was at New Relic, I was the general manager and head of engineering for the New Relic telemetry data platform and all of our global public and private cloud infrastructure. And the telemetry data platform was very much API first, API forward offering data platform where customers could connect via our APIs to send us all of their various metrics, events, logs, and traces for using New Relic for the observability. So product built by engineers for engineers to be able to build and manage their most critical applications and infrastructure.
It's really cool to see, for me, that you come from such a strong background of extending the product, beyond what comes out of the box. Of course, we as a product organization, we want to foresee everything, right? But we can't reasonably foresee everything that customers may do, and that's where things like APIs and event triggers, that's where those come into play. Grady, thinking about the future of our platform and our products, is there anywhere that you see extensibility going in the future beyond just basic APIs?
Yeah, I do, and I should mention, one thing I think that's unique about SailPoint is how sort of business essential, fundamental what we do is for our customers. And I mentioned this as backdrop. It's not like, like we all love our favorite chat product, right, to do chat, but and that's business critical. I don't mean to put it down, but with SailPoint. Without SailPoint being deeply embedded into business processes, we can't do our jobs. We have to be deeply tied into every app and resource, and tied into the employee system of record, and understand how everyone's authenticating. And so we've got to be able to embed into business processes. So I'd say it's so fundamental for what we do. As to where we're headed, I would just say we think at SailPoint about, let me just take this broad notion of extensibility, everything from the connectors. We've connected over 21,000 different applications in SailPoint's history, using all kinds of connectors out there. We think of our ability to share data better into a customer's data lake. We think of course, our APIs and our workflows and our triggers. So I mentioned that to say, today at the developer days, we're talk a lot about APIs, but you touched on this as well. It's workflows, it's triggers, it's for no-code developers or low-code developers. And I think today is also for executives, right, to see what's the art of the possible. So that's a little vague on roadmap where we're going. There's some exciting stuff we have to unveil, some of it very soon. So I definitely won't steal your thunder on that.
No,
some
yeah,
great stuff coming, though.
A lot of good things coming today. If you look at the agenda, you'll see the surprise announcements, and we're going to keep them as just that, surprises until they're unveiled. Wendy, what do you think of with developer relations? I know at New Relic, developer relations was traditionally a marketing role. How do you see developer relations where it's more of a product and engineering focused role?
Well, it's interesting. And I think developer relations can live in product or in marketing. There's a lot of different objectives of having a strong developer relations community. Here, what I like about being in product and engineering and what we're doing here today is really about folding that in and being an extension of our own engineering organization. And I think that lends itself. It's also important to use developer relations to help market and get broader exposure for our products, our APIs, how to integrate with those. And so whether it lives, regardless of the function that it lives in, the missions are still the same. Raise awareness, create sense of community, and then also ensure that we're creating the right structures and APIs that help customers do what they need to do in their environments in a compatible way with what we're building, so that we're forward compatible, backward compatible. But I think it can live in either function.
I think that answer's spot on. So, Grady, Wendy, just one last question for both of you. There's a lot of people out here today watching virtually. This is our first conference for Developer Days. A time to really focus on extensibility on our products and our platforms. What advice would you have out there for those who are anywhere from developer to C-suite who are going to be watching Developer Days today?
Okay, well, first I should say, you said for those who are watching
Yeah.
virtually, in a world where a lot of these like online conferences are sort of pre-recorded and streamed, I don't know if you said, did you tell everyone this is live?
This is.
is live,
I know.
so-
I didn't, but this is live.
So I mentioned that because I think it kind of ups the ante a little bit, right? We are coming live from Austin, Texas here. So anyway, you asked me, so I wanted to call that out, but you asked what should people try to take away? Look, I hope people just see what's possible. I know it sounds a little cliche, but I think if you're not real experienced, if you're not an experienced developer and you don't know SailPoint well, it's like the nexus of those two things when the light bulbs start to go on. It's like, oh, wait, we could solve this problem that we have here. Hey, there's this one thing we've always been wanting to do. And I really hope what people take away is like, they can do this. Jordan, you've walked me through kind of creating my first API call before and actually setting things up and how to use Postman
Remember
and
that.
everything. And it's been 15, 20 years since I touched an IDE. And if I can do it, even like, now, I think anybody can do it.
Yeah, that's so true. So much has changed over the years, and so many of us now operating in distributed architectures, which are the norm today, and microservices, combination of hybrid environments with cloud and on-prem, multiple databases all over the place. And so I know that I talk to engineers and customers every day who are struggling with the complexity and the proliferation of integrations and connections and all the different things that need to work together. And so I really just want to emphasize again that using APIs is a way to help reduce and manage those dependencies through contracts that help you stay forward and backward compatible. And also for engineering organizations, one of the biggest challenges we have in delivering roadmaps is inter-team dependencies and getting those priorities right. And then one team gets interrupted. I mean, we all know this story, right? I had to go work on this escalation, or I had to work on this feature that wasn't in my roadmap. But when you're using full stack Scrum teams and using an API first philosophy for engineering, it makes it easier to manage those interdependencies and connections. And my parting message for developers that are attending this week is really ask questions. Don't be shy.
Yeah.
You've got a full community here. It's a safe community. Share your knowledge. Many times you've already solved a problem that somebody else is trying to solve, and so this is a real good way to help each other. And then, as you mentioned, give us feedback. We want to hear where things are working for you, and we also want to hear where can we improve and help make the lives of all the developers in the SailPoint community better.
Well, thank you both for coming. You heard from, honestly, we're probably the most boring bunch here today. You're gonna hear a lot.
Only gets better.
You're gonna hear from a lot more technical people. So for those of you that are here for the Identity IQ stage, and for those of you that are here for the Identity Now stage, it's pretty cool that we're actually able to bring the content to you, and you actually don't have to head to different stages, but we'll bring the presenters right to your stage. So hang out right where we are. Give us a few minutes for the next presenters to come on, and enjoy Developer Days.